Afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. This is Nithin Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 1048, and joined by my good friend and co-host from the Out in the Field One podcast, Julian. Everyone go follow him. He does a great job with his podcast. And today we're joined by a really special guest. He's a Yankees prospect, right-handed pitcher, Derek Kraft from the Somerset Patriots. And I should say champion also because they won the Eastern League Championship this year. So congrats to them. So fans, please tune in on all the podcast platforms. And as you know, we have the Spreaker app where you can tune in and also ask questions to Derek today, Derek Kraft. And first of all, Derek, thanks for joining us. And first of all, how are you and your family doing? And congrats again, winning on the championship. And unfortunately, you couldn't be part of it, but you were there as a team in the dugout and watching it from there. But how are you and your family doing?
Oh, first off, thank you all for having me. Big honor. I know you've had a few of my teammates on previously, so thank y'all for including me in that. Family and everyone's doing real good back here in Texas. Glad to be home with them, getting to spend some time with them. It was really kind of a bummer for me this season, the way that it ended for me, having Tommy John surgery. Really feeling like I was in a good place as far as how I was doing this season. That team there in Somerset, man, that's a good group of guys. I've said it multiple times before. I think one of my most favorite teams I've ever been a part of. The group was really close. Everyone was connecting from day one. When we had guys move in and get promoted, and they came in and just joined the team, joined the flow, and had a really successful, really special season. I was super proud of those guys. Winning the championship there. I was back home. I was watching every game on MILB TV, cheering for the guys. And I about put my head through the ceiling when they made the final out at the championship game. So I was jumping up and down and was super excited. And of course, all the guys on that team, they really really made an effort to make me feel like I was a part of it. They called me, texted me, FaceTimed me after the games, and Dan Fiorito, the manager, even Zoom called me, and I got to talk with him and the other coaches after they won the championship. So really appreciative for those guys, and congratulations to them, winning it. And again, thanks to them for making me feel a part of it.
Yeah. So I'll let Julian. You want to start off?
All right, Derek. So I guess I'll get right to the nitty gritty a little bit. So what is that Tommy John rehab process like? Take us through the behind the scenes of what goes on with all this. Have you started throwing it? How long does it take for you to get to that point?
Yeah, so I'm just over 8 weeks out of surgery. The rehab process is long and slow, man. There's a lot of work that goes into it. First things first is just trying to get the range of motion back. Being locked in a brace at about 90 degrees for about a week post-surgery, it really takes a bit to get all that scar tissue kind of worked out to where you can get the range of motion back in your arm. So again, it takes a long time to get it back, and it's something you can't rush, and the biggest thing is patience. So I'm getting a very good lesson in patience right now as going through all that. But like I said, I'm 8 weeks out, so we've started doing a lot more stuff as far as I'm kind of some chest passing, some weighted balls right now. Really kind of the first weight movement that I've had with my arm. But it's given me a chance to work on other things as well. I'm really focusing on core and hip mobility and my lower half right now as well. So it's given me a chance to really focus on those parts of my body. Since I can't use my arm very much, but haven't started throwing yet. I probably won't start throwing until about January, late January, maybe February, depending on exactly where that timeline lines up and kind of what we're wanting to do with that. But so that's kind of where I'm at right now, just kind of getting back into into workouts and getting back into a routine as far as the off season. So.
Well, yeah, so just to piggy off on that, tell our fans how tough is it? How tough it when you went down with that injury, and obviously you made a inspiring post about it on Instagram to let people know. And what was that? How hard was that just to go down with that injury? And obviously you were competing on a high level with helping that team try to win. But when you went down, how tough is it?
It was real tough. At first we didn't think it was Tommy John. There was no pop. You hear a lot of pitchers who go through this type of injury and this type of surgery, they felt a pop on one specific throw. And I was one of the few who never really felt a pop. I described it as kind of a tightness in my forearm, my inner forearm, that just kind of kept building and building until the last couple pitches I threw just were, really did not feel very good. But again, I didn't think there was anything too seriously wrong. We treated it as a flexor strain for about 10 days. I went on a 10-day IL or 7-day IL and just rehabbed it. All the tests that we did, like the Tommy John stress tests, all those were fine. All that stuff was good. And so when I came back after taking about 10 days off of no throwing, and my first time trying to play catch, I was kind of babying it a little bit, but right at about throw, I don't know, 10 or 12, I started kind of feeling it again. And so I had to shut it down. Then we went and got an MRI, and that's when it kind of showed that it had a little bit of a little strain in that ligament and everything. Went in and talked with the Yankees, Dr. Ahmad up in New York. And he said that just the way that it looked, it wasn't torn, there wasn't anything big, it was just kind of strained. But he said it had looked as though I'd strained it probably 2 or 3 times before. And so probably the best course of action was to just go ahead and get the surgery, just to, completely fix it, rather than trying to find a way to just kind of heal it, but rather just fix it so I'd be good to go. So that was kind of emotional, something you never want to hear, but just kind of, called my parents, made the decision to go ahead and go with the surgery. And just kind of accepted it and said, all right, we're going to use this opportunity to get better in every part of, my game, every part of my delivery, pitching, how I look in the weight room, my, mentality, just gives me a chance to work on all that. And then the few days that I was with the team after, being told I was going to have surgery, I just kind of focused on being a good teammate and just trying to enjoy the game a little bit more. So.
Well, I'll say you did a good job from being around, seeing you getting the guys fired up, laughing it up before the game. Sometimes you seem to be an icebreaker. Is that something you take pride in?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been around sports teams since I can remember. My dad was a high school basketball coach for 42 years.
Wow.
Retired. So I grew up around his sports teams. So I'm being in a competitive sports environment is just something I've been very comfortable with, and something that's almost kind of second nature. I'm almost bored out of my mind if I'm not around a sporting event of some sort. So, but yeah, just being, I try to be a guy who's loose and easy. I try not to, get too stressed when it comes to games, especially before the game starts. I feel like that's, for me, it's where I need to be the most loose and easy. So I try to be out on the field as early as possible.
Yep.
Talk with some of the fans. We had some really good fans there in Somerset that, it really made me sad leaving because I didn't get to see them every day anymore. So we had some good fans there. So interacting with them, laughing with them as much as I could. And of course the teammates, just trying to, create the best relationship with them, encourage them. I always try to be the first one to tell them, good job when, if they hit a home run or, strike out the side, I want to be the first one, as they come into the dugout, telling them congratulations. And if, someone's struggling, I try to be the first guy that, pats them on the back and said, hey, have confidence in yourself. You're here for a reason, and just encourage them to keep going. And that's something I've always taken pride in. And I don't see any reason to stop that in pro ball.
This is we are live with Yankees prospect and Somerset Patriots pitcher Derek Kraft. We already have a fan question for you. This popped into the speaker app. Someone wants to know what's the reason why pitchers, they want to know why pitchers get injured easily now with getting Tommy John and the UCL tear in the elbow. They want to know why a lot of pitchers get that easy now, like Verlander and Scott Efros, or you can go down the list.
Yeah, I think that's really the big question. That's the big mystery, is why is this happening so much? I think if you look at pitchers nowadays, they tend to be, more high velocity pitchers. You're seeing more velo throughout all age groups nowadays. And I think that's just kind of the direction the game has naturally gone in. Who doesn't like to look up on the board and, and see 95 plus up there. So I think it's something that, this game's just kind of involved into, like I said, high velocity pitchers are just becoming more common. So I think that plays a lot into it. The higher velocity you throw with, the more stress it puts on your body. And, sometimes if you grow up like myself, grow up throwing one way to where it didn't really put a whole lot of stress on my body. So the amount of like arm care I did was, not all that much. But then as I developed and started throwing harder and harder, my habits of, taking care of myself, arm care and all the stuff behind the scenes, it didn't really change. And I'll be the first one to say that. So, I think that plays a lot into it. So I mean, the biggest piece of advice I've got for, young pitchers nowadays is, don't skip out on the prep work, off days, make sure, you stretching, doing bands, doing shoulder care, arm care, just, pretty much anything just to kind of get your arm ready for the stress that you're about to put on it. I know that's something I'm focusing on now. And once I start, getting back into throwing again, I'm going to put a lot more stress and emphasis on my pre-work and arm care.
Yeah. So you were speaking of some work you've done. What was some stuff you've done with Casa Diego that really helped you develop in the pitcher you're into? Because it seems like a lot of the guys like him, and he really did a great job with the pitching staff. You guys are all lights out this year.
Yeah, Casa does a great job. He's a great coach. He knows really how to, I think, communicate with the players in the way that they understand. I know I don't, process information the same way as, Carson Coleman, Aaron McGarity, have been on the show before do. And every pitcher is different. I think what makes a great coach is being able to communicate with each individual players and convey the same amount of information just in a way that they understand it. And I feel like that's something Costa has always done a great job of. I mean, this was my third season with him. I had him in 2019 in Pulaski. I had him last year in Hudson Valley, and of course this year in Somerset. So that's something I think he did a great job of, helping me, really develop my slider is something we've worked on in the past couple of years. And so he's really helped me, find the mindset and mentality behind how I need to throw it and kind of what I'm looking for with it. And just overall, I know I struggled finding the zone a lot at spring training this year and to start this season in Somerset. And he was very, very instrumental of me kind of finding it again, and it just kind of came down to mentality and just believing that I was good enough. And I think Casa, always made a point to tell each player that, we were good enough, that we were good enough to be there. We belonged there. And he's going to shoot straight with you. If he believes that your attitude and your work ethic sucks, he's going to be the first one to tell you. And you can rely on getting straight information from him. And I think that's what made him such a great coach. And I think everyone on the pitching staff in Somerset, throughout the whole year, really appreciated that from him. And yeah, that was, like I said, that was just a great group of guys. We all like to help each other. In the bullpen, we could have all broken down each other's, deliveries and pitch types and pitch sequences, and just trying to help each other out. Which, again, that makes a great team, is when the teammates or when the players are each, wanting to help each other out and be good teammates. So, and I think a lot of that started with Casa. So,
oh. Yeah. So take us back to obviously you're from Hawkins, Texas, and you went to college in Texas, San Antonio. And what was that like, staying close to home, pitching in front of your friends and family? And I have to say, how about them Cowboys? So, but
absolutely, yeah, go Cowboys. Hard to say that sometimes, but yeah, big Cowboys fan. Yeah, I got to be honest though, I didn't go to college that close to home. Texas is a big state. I went to college about 7 hours away from home, down in San Antonio at UTSA. So I actually didn't get to see my friends and family that often. I know my family came down whenever they could. But yeah, we never really played that close to home either. I think the closest to home we ever got was about 4.5 hours away. So yeah, friends and family, didn't get to see them very much. So I think that really kind of made me kind of grow up a little bit, and in a small town like Hawkins, I mean, our population is just about 1,200. So it was really small, kind of sheltered environment, closed environment, I guess you could say. And going down to San Antonio, which is, a huge city, kind of by myself, I think that kind of forced me to grow up a little bit. But yeah, I love my time down there at UTSA. I didn't really play a whole lot my freshman or sophomore year. Kind of got what we called the trash innings, just either getting blown out by a lot or I can't say we really blew too many teams out by a lot in my time there, but I think my freshman year as a team, we had a 17-win season, and in Division I baseball, that's not very good. So, yeah, but it wasn't until my junior year where I really started to really have a role on the team. And we had a new pitching coach my junior year. Jim Blair came in. He was our hitting coach in the previous years, but he moved over from hitting to pitching. And I think the mentality of the pitching staff just changed, and the whole team, I think, really got after it that year. We had a much better season than we had the 2 years before. And like I said, I finally had a role on that team my junior year, and I did everything from close, set up, first out of the pen, get out of a jam situation. And I mean, hey, I even started 3 games, which I had yet to do in my college career. So yeah, I just enjoyed my time there. The few fans we had were great. Most of our fans were the parents of the players, so they were always real nice to me, and just had a good time down there.
Well, Nathan set me up. So we go after college. So how about the draft process, getting drafted by the Yankees? How was that? What was that day like?
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get drafted. I got to be honest with you.
Oh, wow.
I mean, UTSA was a small mid-major school down in Conference USA, and we really didn't have that successful of a program to speak of. I mean, we had a few players drafted in the later rounds each year, but, I never really considered myself, draft material, especially not as a junior. And yeah, it shocked me. I got called into the coach's office before we went down to the conference championship or the conference tournament rather. Coach called me in the office and he just said, "Hey, I want you to block out everything that's been going on. You've had a great season. Just focus on this, this, and this." And I think I kind of had a blank look on my face, and I think he asked me, "Do you not know how good of a season you're having?" And I said, Coach, I got to be honest with you. I said, I've been trying something new this year. I said, I have not looked at my stats a single time this season. Every time we go to the field, it's opening day for me, and that's kind of the mentality I've liked to have. And I said, I haven't looked at my stats all year. So he flipped open his notebook that he had there in front of me, or in front of him, turned to my page, ripped it out, crumpled it up, threw it across the room, and said, "Well, if you don't want to look at it, I won't look at it." And he goes, "So just keep with that mentality as we go to the conference tournament." And then he said, and everything that, is coming with the draft, just block that out as well. And I kind of was like, "The draft? What are you talking about?" And he kind of was like, "Well, you're probably going to get drafted." I was like, "No, I'm not. No. Coach, let's be realistic here. No, I'm not." And he kind of was like, "Yeah, you are. Like, the scholarship that you're on right now doesn't exist for next year because we're that confident you're going to leave." Of course, sent me into a panic because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have a scholarship for next season. So what's going to happen when I don't get drafted? Where am I going to go? What's going to happen?" But yeah, went into the draft, got a lot of calls, showing interest, calls, emails, letters. I think ultimately I was contacted by 25 out of the 30 teams. And at that point in time, I was like, "Oh, maybe I do have a chance," And day three rolls around, and I just start watching. We had my laptop pulled up, and had the live stream. We had it plugged into my TV and the radio going, and just listening to round by round, go by. And at the start of the 16th round, I get a call from the Boston Red Sox saying that they were going to draft me with their next pick. Congratulations, sit back and enjoy it, all of that. We'll call your agent, whatever. They said 100% we're taking you with our next pick. It's a given. The scouting guy or the scouting director, whatever, they've already said, yes, we're taking you. So my agent calls me, "Hey, congratulations, the Red Sox are taking you. You're going to be a Red Sox. Awesome, congratulations." And so we're just kind of, me and my parents, we're just kind of sitting back in the living room, just kind of waiting for, my name to finally be said. And there was a delay in the time that like the name showed up on the screen and then like the radio announced it. And so we're just kind of sitting back, and my dad just happens to glance up from his phone, and the Yankees logo popped up on the screen with my name next to it, which was 3 picks before the Red Sox pick. And so I jumped up out of my chair, and the phone rings shortly after. And I mean, that's the video that's on my my Instagram and my Twitter of I'm on the phone with the Yankee scout when my name
Look at
is
this.
officially announced. And yeah, I was in a whirlwind. I didn't really know what was going on, but all I knew that I was about to be a Yankee, and I had to go get a haircut and shave because I think I had long hair and a beard at the time. So, which I've got one now, but it's the off season, so who cares? But yeah, no, that draft process, it was crazy. Like I said, I wasn't expecting it, which I think made it even more special because I was just along for the ride, just like, all right, well, let's see what happens. So it was pretty special.
Wow. Yeah. Speaking of that, like so. I mean, obviously the Red Sox didn't know that the Yankees were going to take you, but why would they say congrats already if another team is going to take you like that?
Yeah, I have no idea. Like I said, they had assumed that they were going to take me, and I don't know, maybe they thought no one else was looking at me or something. I don't know. I really have no idea. But like I said, for about a minute there, I was convinced I was about to be a Red Sox, and all that changed. And hey, I'm glad to be where I'm at now. So it worked out.
Yep. So we have a fan question for you. Another one. They want to know, what pitchers do you like to watch now?
Oof. Oh man, there's so many good ones out there. Um, it's the obvious. I feel like you hear it all the time, but I love watching the pitchers who have like great mentalities. They're the king of the world when they're up there on the mound. The Max Scherzers, the Garrett Coles, guys like that. I just love seeing the mentality of you're not going to beat me. They may give up a home run, one pitch, they turn around the next pitch, the camera zooms in on them and they've got, fire in their eyes. Like, they're about to attack the next hitter, and I love watching those guys. I love watching old pitchers. If I got to be honest with you, I like looking back and, in the annals of MLB and history and just watching some of the old pitchers. And of course, growing up in Texas, you grew up with the legend of Nolan Ryan, and my dad loved him. My dad also really liked the Braves in the '90s. The Glavine, Maddox, and Schmaltz. So I grew up watching highlights of those 4 guys and other great pitchers throughout the years. And so whenever I start to struggle a little bit, I always like to go back and watch highlight videos of older pitchers throw. Back when, in my mind, I believe pitching was a little bit more simple. I like to simplify things, so I just go back and I like watching pitchers like that. So
Yes. So speaking of some pitchers, who are some teammates you leans on, or maybe some guys that had some surprising seasons? I know it's probably tough to single out a few because there's so many, but just a little curious on your thoughts.
Ooh, man, in Somerset.
Yeah, we'll just stick to Somerset because I know the whole system's got a lot of good talent.
Oh gosh, like I said, there's so many good pitchers, and there's so many great pitchers on that staff, both starters, relievers. I mean, we started off with Ken Waldachuk, who was got traded, but he was a great arm. We had a lot of great guys promoted. We had a lot of great guys come up. Gosh, I can't really single anybody out. I think everybody really played their part. I know as far as the bullpen was concerned, Nick Ernst was kind of the vocal leader of that bullpen. I think he kind of held us together, and you knew the guy was going to put in his work, and you were going to get his absolute best when he went out on the mound. Steve Jennings, came in from Rule 5 from the Pirates, and he came in and had a big impact on our ball club that year. Carson Coleman gets promoted, not too long into the season up to join us, and he goes off and has a great year, a great role as our closer that year. And like I said, everybody who was on that team just had just a tremendous season. And gosh, it was, like I said, it was a family. One guy struggles, everybody's there picking him up. One guy has success, everybody's there patting him on the back. Gosh, yeah, there's just so many. Yeah, I can't single anybody out other than what I've already said. Is everybody on that team was just amazing.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch you guys throw the ball this year. It seems like every person had it, like from the stars, the bullpen, dominant runs, even in the championship. I mean, Vasquez goes 8 no hit innings. Gomez picks up a good start too. Like all the guys up and down. Waldichuk, I actually got to speak to Ken, so I'm happy to hear you bring him up. I spoke to him last year. It was tough to see him go, but he definitely was a really good arm too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, there were so many good arms on that team, and I feel like I've got to mention everybody. Just in that topic conversation, everyone deserves it.
Yeah.
Everyone's there for a reason. Everyone earned their time. I mean, Will Warren with getting promoted and shoving. I mean, you mentioned Randy. I mean, everybody, Mitch Spence, who got promoted at one point in time, Sean Boyle. I could
I
literally
love
list
Boyle too.
everybody on that team. I can literally list everybody because everybody was equally special, equally as talented, and equally successful.
Yeah. So speaking of pitching, obviously before the show we talked about Garrett Cole, and obviously I said you're the taller version of Garrett Cole, in my opinion. The way you look without no hair and long hair, you look like Garrett Cole. But tell our fans and tell about the story you just told me before the show when you were in Tampa. I mean, no, not Tampa, Hudson Valley. Tell the fans about the story.
Yeah, I've actually, and it wasn't even just last year. I've gotten it for a couple of years, but of course, when I'm clean shaven for the season, and a couple of times throughout the last few years, I've kind of let my hair grow out a little bit and kind of got long underneath the hat. And I had a few fans, a few kids, are like, "Hey, are you Garrett Cole? Do you look like Garrett Cole?" And um, if Garrett Cole happens to see this, I'm sorry, but I said, I was like, yeah, of course I'm Garrett Cole, because everyone wants Garrett Cole's autograph. No one wants Derek Kraft's autograph, but everyone. So, but don't worry, I didn't forge his signature. I definitely signed my name. Don't want to get in trouble there with anything. Next thing I know, I'm gonna be getting a phone call, about that. But no, it's just fun. Anything for the fans, get a smile out of the fans, and like I said, I always try to get out to the field early, just to talk and socialize and sign autographs whenever they're asked of me. Which isn't much, but I always kind of had like a little secret post game. After the games were over, I just wanted to get in and go eat because I was starving by the time 9 innings was over with. But I always had a secret that in Somerset I would go down the tunnel when Anthony Volpe went down the tunnel, because everybody would be yelling for his autograph, so I could just slip right by without him. But pre-game, I'll sign all the autographs that are asked of me. Post-game, I've got to go eat.
That's funny.
Yeah, that is really funny. And you gave me a good segue because I was going to ask about Anthony. So tell me what it was like being his teammate, all the fanfare that came around him, and if you ever had any good battles with him in live batting practice or something, how tough on that bat was he?
Yeah, I've been with Volpe since he was drafted. In 19, he came into Pulaski, and then I was with him to start the year last year, and last season in Tampa, and then we were both promoted eventually to Hudson Valley, and then of course this year in Somerset. So I feel like I've been with him at every level, at least that I've been at. Of course, he got promoted at the end of the year, but the kid's a great talent. He's good all the way around. I remember when he came up, I remember just kind of watching him play. It's like, wow, this kid's got a little bit of an edge to him, and he's just a great kid. And of course, being there in Somerset, his house was 20 minutes away from the field. He had on I guess Sunday nights after our early day games on Sundays, he would invite a lot of the players over. I know we had a Easter dinner there at his house Sunday night. We celebrated winning the first half of the season there. His family, very welcoming, very nice people. They would always come up to you at the ballpark as well, just wanting to
I
give you
saw
a
it.
hug and shake your hand and just always asking you how you're doing. So the family there is great. You can definitely tell he was raised by a good family. And like I said, I just enjoyed my time with him. He was a great guy, good guy in the locker room. Again, he was one of those guys that if somebody was struggling, he was, patting him on the back and encourage him. And I remember watching, hitters always talk about, different, hitting philosophies and strategies and approaches. And he was always right in the middle of those conversations. So yeah, great teammate, great work ethic, just all around, great guy, great talent. So it's been special, for me watching him kind of, mature and grow up throughout the minor leagues. Like I said, having been with him at every level so far. It's probably unprofessional to say, but as a fan, I'm looking forward to seeing him play in the Bronx one day.
I think everyone is.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was great to see him this year for sure. And covering him was really a treat.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. I think it was very fitting that to end the first half of the season, it's him hitting an extra inning walk-off home run, like the hometown kid. It's like this. We're saying it down in the bullpens. Like, this is why people think professional sports are scripted, because it's, of course, it's the number one prospect. It's the hometown kid. So we couldn't have been happier for him, doing that, hitting that home run to win the first half of the season. And of course, we couldn't have been happier for him when he got promoted. So, I mean, he deserves it. He's great talent.
Yeah, so we have another fan question for you. They want to know some of your best moments in college and your best moments so far in the Yankees minor league system.
Ooh, geez, a lot of my best moments in college can't be mentioned. Keeping it family friendly. I don't know. Just I think one of my biggest on-field memories from college was just every time we got a walk-off hit. And walk-off hit, I don't think we didn't have any walk-off home runs. We had a lot of walk-off hits. And at our field at UTSA, we didn't have a railing. Our dugout was not dug out; it was flat, and we didn't have a railing, so it was just open to the field. And it was a team rule that you couldn't sit down during the game, so we were all standing right there on the edge of the field. Some of us like to play a little game to see how far we could get onto the warning track dirt before the umpire told us to get back. But it was just fun. We brought a lot of energy. We were right there on it. Anytime something good happened, we were halfway on the field already anyway. So anytime that we got a walk-off hit, which I think we had I want to say 9 or 11 walk-offs my junior year alone. And so, we were like crossing the foul line before the winning run scored a lot of times, because we were just so excited and we were already right there anyway. But I want to say anytime we were on anytime we hit a walk-off is probably my most memorable moments there. I mean, I had a lot of them. I mean, my sophomore year, we went into the conference tournament as the 8th seed, the last team to make, the tournament. And we went up against the number 1 Southern Miss, and the championship tournament was in Mississippi. So it was essentially a home game for them. And we upset them. And I remember running on the field. We might as well have won the championship after knocking off the number 1 seed. But so that was a special moment. I got to pitch against a lot of, big time teams. The University of Texas, at Austin, I got to pitch against them, and I grew up a Longhorn fan. So that was kind of a special moment for me, getting to play there. I told my dad this was a dream come true. The only thing wrong was I was in the other dugout. But that was special. I pitched against, I actually got my first ever collegiate start. I think that's right. I might want to fact check myself, but I got my first collegiate start against Texas Tech my junior year, when I think they were like number 3 or number 5 team in the country that year. They made a run at Omaha. And so that was really special for me, was getting to pitch against them. I had probably one of my best outings in my college career was against them. So that was special. So as far as college goes, I mean, there's not really one specific memory that really stands out, but it's just a lot of collection of memories that made, my college experience so memorable. But as far as professional, man, I guess it's really hard to pick just one memory that stands out above all the rest. Just meeting a lot of the big league guys that you grow up watching on TV, and then you meet them in person at spring training, or if they're rehabbing. I've got to meet a lot of great guys over the years. Troy Tulowitzki, Hicks, Didi Gregorius, just a lot of those guys. Sanchez when he was rehabbing down there at the spring training complex. I've met Stanton on a number of occasions down there in Tampa, and always had really good interactions with him. I've met Judge, just met a lot of great guys, up there in the big leagues. So I always kind of remember those times. Yeah, it's just the experience as a whole has just been incredible. I can't pick just one memory that surpasses all the others up to this point. Ask me the same question when I finally get the call up to the big leagues, and then I'll for sure have a memory to tell you.
Is there any piece of advice the major league guys gave you that stuck with you? Like, what was something that hit home with you?
Okay, it's kind of a funny story. While some of those guys that were rehabbing down in Tampa, I was at extended spring training back in 2019. I think it was the year the Yankees set the record for guys on the disabled list.
Oh God, yeah.
So like half the roster was down in Tampa. But when they were rehabbing, some of them started facing live hitters or live pitchers again. And I was one of the pitchers that got selected on a number of occasions to pitch to some of those guys. I threw to Stanton, Hicks, Didi, Tulo, all those guys. And so that was really kind of special. But I remember going up to Stanton and Didi afterwards. But I went up to Stanton afterwards and I said, "Hey, is there anything you see of like me as a pitcher? Like, do I tip my pitches? Do something I need to work on? Just from a hitter's perspective, looking at a pitcher, do you see anything that stands out?" And he says, "Nah, man, you look good. That sinker you throw is really, really effective. Throw that more." And I was like, "Okay, well, thanks, man." And so he walks off, and I turn and look at my catcher, and I go, "Man, I got to learn how to throw a sinker now." Because it was my four-seam fastball, and I was like, "Dang, I don't know if that's a good thing. My four-seam fastball looks like a sinker to big league hitters." I'm like, that's not good. But so that was one piece of advice that haven't followed through with just because I don't throw it. But so that was always kind of a funny little moment. But you just work ethic. I think all of them have always said, just you got to put the effort in. You got to put the effort in. You got to put the effort in. It's if you don't help yourself in your time off, then no one can really help you, in the game. You don't have anything to fall back on. So just, that's pretty much been, the biggest piece of advice I've gotten from any of them was just, be willing to put the work and effort in. And I've got a great place I work out at in the off season. That's actually where I'm at right now. I actually just got done working out before this interview. So
Nice.
we've got a collection of minor league guys, indie ball guys here, even some major league guys. Of course, some of them haven't gotten back yet. But the biggest impact on my career, I felt like, has actually come from here and the guys that we have here. I mean, we have 11-year big league vet Josh Tomlin. Won a World Series with the Braves last year and had a really successful career in Cleveland. And Josh kind of serves as like our pitching coach here. He of course is working out himself, getting better, trying to get back into the league. But he stays around and he talks with each of the younger, not just pitchers, but hitters as well, the younger players, and just tries to help us with anything that he sees. And, I think it's just a great collective group of guys. So both here and in the Yankees organization, all the older guys or all the big league guys I've met have been nothing but nice and nothing but encouraging.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, so speaking of rehab assignments, obviously this year at Somerset, you got to be with Harrison Bader, Giancarlo Stanton, Luis Severino, and I can name others. So what was that like seeing them at Somerset, like especially Bader because he killed it in the playoffs for us, and obviously Stanton and Severino.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the thing is I missed a lot of those guys because once I got the diagnosis that I was going to have surgery, they sent me home to Texas. So I was kind of like every other fan. I got to watch those guys, play, on my TV, on my computer, on the live streams. So I missed a lot of those guys. I think really the only one I got to see was Chapman. And I really didn't talk with him all that much. He, kind of was doing his own thing. So you didn't want to interrupt him too much because he's kind of an intense guy, so I didn't want to, bother him with questions too much. I mean, I was down there with Derek Dietrich when he was there. He came through. So he was one of the boys. I mean, you would never know that guy had, as much big league service time as he had when he was down there with us. he put on a juggling display for us one day in Altoona during the rain delays. So he was a great guy to have, and just, you know, a great clubhouse guy for us. Like I said, you would never know he would be a big leaguer if, you know, you didn't know him. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about those guys who come through and on their rehab assignments and stuff like that. So, yeah, like I said, I wish I could have been there for a lot of it. I'm sure the little kid in me would have been jumping up and down, asking a million questions, and who knows, maybe even for autographs. But yeah, no, like I said, the only rehab guy I actually got to be with this season was Chapman, and I actually got a really good picture of it, because when he was warming up down in the bullpen, of course, there's 50 people run over with cameras because they're wanting to get a picture of him throwing. And you know, we have an iPad that has a readout of every pitch thrown down in our bullpen. And so there's a really cool picture that I have of him mid-throw and me just kind of standing back there behind him, watching him throw. So I've got that saved, and that was a cool little memento for me. So
Yeah, Chapman was a wild situation. Somerset security had to step in and remove a few people trying to get some content that they weren't supposed to get.
Very true.
Yeah, true. It was a scene out there. Luckily, we were able to get the stuff with the media, obviously. But it's cool. So you were talking about the sinker before, not doing that. Is there any new pitches you're planning to bring out post Tommy John? Like, what's your breaking stuff looking like?
Oh boy, that's always kind of been the biggest problem with me is I've always been a fastball first guy, a fastball heavy guy. So for me, just I'm trying, when I start throwing again, I'm going to be really focusing on my slider, which has really been a point of emphasis of development over the last 3 or 4 years. Still haven't gotten a grip of it, pun intended, of course. But
yeah,
I think I've changed grips about, I don't know, 4 or 5 times in the last 3 years, just trying to find something that works. And towards the end of the season there, the midpoint of the season, you know, leading up to when I got hurt, I think my slider was really getting to where we needed it to be, or we wanted it to be. And I was gaining confidence with it. Of course, you know, had to get hurt and not be able to throw for a while. But yeah, when I come back, really just going to put a lot of emphasis on getting back to where I was with that slider and continue to develop it and have more confidence with it. And, you know, I throw a change up as well, a circle change that I actually have a lot of confidence in, but just, you know, for whatever reason, I've never really thrown it all that much. I think I only threw it, you know, 7% of the time this year and 4% of the time last year. And, you know, I think I need, just talking with different people who have a lot of knowledge and experience, I think I need to, you know, find a way to get more confidence to throw that in, you know, different counts and different situations. So it's, you know, something I'm just going to continue to work on. I'm a 3-pitch guy. I think I'll always be a 3-pitch guy. And yeah, we'll just go from there. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. And I was able to find this while I was talking there. I was multitasking, but there's the,
oh wow,
I don't know how well
that's
shows
a cool
up,
picture.
It's probably one of my favorite pictures from the season is Chapman warming up and me just standing behind him. So that was kind of a special moment.
That's pretty, yeah. And you have the Captain America stuff to boot, making it seem like a Marvel scene out of a movie.
I tell you, it was hilarious when because he pitched for us when I was there. He pitched for us twice on I guess Friday and a Sunday. And both of those days we were wearing special jerseys. We were wearing our Captain Americas on that Friday, and we were wearing our Copa Zorros jerseys that Sunday, which is actually the Sunday we walked off to win the first half. So I think it was funny that both times he was there, he did not pitch in pinstripes.
No.
It was kind of a little awkward to see him wearing those special minor league jerseys.
I know, that was funny.
Yeah, which I'll tell you was actually really cool was when we won that we won the championship walking it, or we won the first half rather, after walking it off. I remember coming back into the dugout, you know, high-fiving all the coaches, and he's standing there. He was right there. He never left. He stayed and watched to be a part of that, which I think was really cool. We of course we went underneath the stadium. We had our little champagne celebration after winning the first half, and he was there. He was, you know, standing over there in the corner, you know, having a drink and just kind of I think enjoying being around just kind of a fun environment because I mean, who doesn't like winning, right? Regardless of what level it was. So I think it was really special that that he stayed and took part in that. And I think it made it a little bit more special for all of us. You go back and you look at the picture of all of us that we got together for a picture there, and he's back there. He's in full uniform back
Yeah.
there, just enjoying the moment. So I thought that was really special.
Yeah, speaking of uniforms, tell our fan. Actually, I saw one of your interviews on YouTube with some guy, and you were wearing that military uniform, and it means a lot to you because you come from a military background too. And tell our fans about that story and what does that mean to you whenever you guys wear like a military uniform or some any kind of uniform, but especially military.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a lot of former and current military members in my family. Starting with both my grandfathers served, one in the Army and one in the Navy, which makes Army Navy football games very interesting for me.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I've cousins that everywhere from Air Force, Navy, and Army. So I've got a lot of military members in my family, and I've got the utmost respect for everyone who puts on the uniform to defend our country, and defend freedom, and of course their families who they serve just as much as anybody, having to deal with them gone and keep everything going, and parents and children and spouses of anybody who's ever served. If anyone of them is listening, I reach my heart out to y'all, and I thank y'all for everything that y'all do. So yeah, anytime that we get a chance to represent or honor any member of the military and their families, it's always a special moment for me. I love putting on those uniforms and getting to talk with with veterans and with current members of the military, and just talk with them, just listen to them. A lot of times especially those older guys, those veterans, they love to tell stories, and I love to hear them. So, I just try to give my time and reach out and talk with as many of those guys as I can, and just make sure that they know that, that they're not forgotten, and, that we thank them for everything they do. And yeah, so anytime I got to put on, a camouflage uniform was special for me. And I enjoyed every moment of it.
Yeah, well said over there. I have a couple of friends who served in the military also, and it's just truly inspiring to see how they I mean, obviously sacrifice their own lives for us. It's just amazing.
Of course. Yeah, nothing. There's not enough that can be said about the sacrifices that those men and women have made on our behalf. And yeah, any chance that I get, I try to honor and pay my respects to them. So it was really cool last year in Hudson Valley, kind of when that interview I did that you were referring to. I met someone who was a professor or a teacher of some sort at West Point, because West Point was like 30, 40 minutes away from where our stadium was in Hudson Valley.
York, yeah.
And she actually, I think she was a granddaughter of the last living Buffalo soldier, the all black cavalry regiment. And so it was really cool to kind of meet her and hear some of the stories she had. And she was nice enough to invite me out to West Point for a tour, which unfortunately never ended up taking place. Just time schedules never really worked out. And I'm hoping I can make it back there and actually, get a tour one day. However, I was able to go out to a football game at West Point that year. Got to see them play, which was really special for me, just kind of getting to be in that environment and everything. So it was a lot of fun.
It's a really awesome story. I think it's definitely worth listening to. The service is very important, and I'm going to pass along well wishes to anyone who has or will currently, all the above. So I'll speak to someone that I think you'll definitely have some good feelings for. How about your manager, Danny Fiorito? We've spoken to him a lot. He was very nice to the media, gave us a lot of good information. So can you take us through your relationship with him and how he led you guys to a championship?
Yeah, no, Fio is amazing. Fio is awesome. Of course, former player, in the Yankees organization. So he really knows how, the Yankees like things done, the Yankee way, the Yankee tradition, that hasn't changed in 100 years.
No, it hasn't.
But he's also, he's also young enough to where, the new school of baseball, he's a perfect little mix of that, and he just has great relations with the players. And again, he's really good at communicating and, talking with the players in the way that, they can understand and they get and everything. So it was really special to have him involved in the team. And he's, like I said, great leader, great coach. Can't say enough nice things about him. Just an amazing guy. So, yeah.
Would you be surprised if he ends up managing in the big leagues in a few years?
Not at all. Not at all. I think I could definitely see him doing it. I also do think that he is the type of guy who likes developing, and so I could see him being in the minor leagues for another 10 years. But again, I could definitely see him in the big leagues as well. And if that's what he's wanting, then I hope it happens. And I hope I get a chance to play for him again, no matter where it's at, big leagues, minor leagues, whatever. I can't say enough things about him. He likes to laugh and joke around with the players, with the coaches, and and everything there. He's just a great guy to learn from, to have lead you, and again, you're going to get the truth from him. He's not going to sugarcoat things. He's going to tell you how it is. And I've got nothing but nice things to say. The utmost respect for him. And like I said, I hope I get a chance to play for him again.
This is we have another fan question for you. They want to know, what's your go-to food?
Go-to food. Oh boy, that's a dangerous question. I'm a snacker because I cannot eat a meal, like a full meal, all day and just snack on day, chips and crackers and anything. But as far as like my favorite meal is probably like, I don't know, chicken Alfredo or something like that. Something feel good, home cooked food, stuff like that. I love me some steak and potatoes too. Can't lie about that. I'm a country boy. I gotta be honest there. But as far as just my go-to kind of comfort, feel good food, no matter what mood I'm in, chicken Alfredo is always a great way to go for me. And yeah, as long as someone else cooks it, I'm not a very good cook. When it comes to cooking, preparing food, I'm fixing hot dogs and macaroni and cheese. Like that's about all I got. I gotta be honest.
Pretty funny. So speaking of some off the field things, what are some hobbies you have outside of baseball?
Oh boy. In season, I really don't have that many. Just I try to enjoy the little bit of time that we have at the hotel when I don't have to do anything. Just watch TV, binge watch whatever show I happen to be into at the time. Play some video games. I actually a little bit into like architectural design. I like designing floor plans for houses, buildings, stadiums, stuff like that. So I do it just kind of for fun, keep myself busy. I also design uniforms and such like that for various teams I've played for and stuff like that. Again, just anything to keep myself entertained. In the off season, I come home, just spend as much time as I can with friends, just enjoy their company, go out, have a good time, maybe hunt a little bit if I get a chance, which I don't really get a chance too much. But I coach in the off season. I've got
Oh, wow.
I got a select group of kids or an organization that I've joined, I think 3 years ago now. This is my third season coaching them in the off season, ages from, 14 to 18, just trying to kind of pass some knowledge on to the next generation, just help these kids out and provide as much, encouragement and example as I can for these kids. And it's something, it's really near and dear to my heart. I'm very passionate about. Is helping those kids out, practices, games. We've got our World Series tournament this weekend, so I've been preparing for that. So probably over preparing, if I'm being honest with you. I've got 15-year-olds that I'm coaching this weekend, and I've been working on lineups and rosters and batting orders for the last 3 days. So, some people say I take it a little too seriously, but like I said, gives me something to do, and I enjoy it. So, like I said, my dad was a coach for 42 years, so I grew up around coaches, and it's just something I enjoy doing. So that's
Well,
how I keep myself busy.
go get another championship while you're at it.
Hey, we'll try our best. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll have to let y'all know.
You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe after your playing career, you can be a manager too.
Hey, that'd be something. I've definitely considered going into coaching after my playing career is over. I've looked at the high school ranks of coaching, just following in my dad's footsteps, and I've got cousins and uncles who are all Coach Crafts, and so I feel like being a Coach Craft would just kind of keep that going. I've definitely been interested in maybe getting into college, and I don't know if someone would like me to coach in the minor leagues or something. That'd be special, but yeah, got a career right now that I've got to kind of focus on a little bit.
Oh
So
yeah.
paid too much attention to my post playing career, but coaching is definitely on the list of things that I think I'd like to do. And I think I've had a lot of people tell me that like sports commentating or reporting would also kind of be up my alley, and I have a little bit of experience in as well. Commentating on sporting events, football and baseball games. So, I think I've got a range of options when my playing career is finally over, which hopefully isn't for 10 or 12 years from now. But yeah.
Speaking of basketball, the Yankees would have one of the best front courts in the NBA with you, Aaron Judge, Carlos Stanton, Jonathan Sanchez, Andrew Brockman back in the day. I mean, you got the Yankees,
Chapman.
Chapman too. Yankees value
Clay Holmes.
Clay Holmes. Yankees value big men. I mean,
Yeah.
So what would you say to other kids that are really concerned about their height? But as you know, people, if they see you guys do it, what would you say to other kids who are like the same height as you that are concerned a little bit?
Oh man, that's a beautiful thing about baseball is that there is no cookie cutter, player. I mean, you've got that famous picture, Jose Altuve standing right next to Aaron Judge. Like, if that doesn't say baseball's for everybody, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
I had teammates in college who were, 5'3", 5'4". They're some of the best players on the field. And you've got me, at about 6'7", 6'8", and other guys like me who, we are also really competitive and have gone on to have successful careers. So baseball's for everybody. Size doesn't matter. Whether you think you're too short, there's a spot for you. If you're willing to put the work and the effort in to get better, there's a spot for you. And if you think you're too tall, too big, same thing. It's like I said, it's a beautiful game. And so we had so many debates this year in Somerset about basketball. If we were to put a basketball team together, like who would win? It was I couldn't help but think of that when you were talking about basketball.
Yeah, the Yankees really prioritize the size and the players. Like, there's so many big dudes all over the place. It seems like to be the mold they have, but it is cool that you can have smaller guys play too. Like the Altuve Judge comparison was spot on there.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll take one more fan question, and one of our fans is putting you on the spot right now. They want to find out from you. They're a big Yankee fan, so they want to know what's the likelihood for Aaron Judge to stay in a Yankee uniform. Obviously, everyone knows he's a free agent. So one of the fans want to know, do you think he'll stay, and what kind of pitch would you sell him to come back? Obviously, he's a homegrown player, so you don't really pitch homegrown players, but they want to know your pitch to Aaron Judge.
Oh boy. Well, the first part of that question, I think I'm probably the last person to tell you what the likelihood that he comes back as a Yankees player and as a Yankees fan over the since I've gotten in the organization. I want him to stay. I would love to see him stay. My pitch, man, that's a tough one. Like you said, how do you pitch someone who's knows every in and out of the organization? I mean, just oh boy. I think really just kind of have to tell them, like, hey, I mean, you've seen we're on the verge of being really, really good, and that's the thing is I think Yankees fans forget sometimes we had a successful season. the Yankees in the big leagues had a successful season. I think sometimes with our 27 World Series championships, we kind of forget that you can
Yeah.
have a successful season and not win a championship. Um, which I know is blasphemy, and I'll get some hate mail for that for saying that as a Yankee. But I think you just got to tell them it's like we've had successful seasons, and I feel like we're probably just one or two pieces away from really being unstoppable. I mean, you saw it for a stretch there during the season, whereas we're the best team in baseball by far, and
Yeah.
we're not too many pieces away from being that for an entire season and including the postseason. And I think, like I said, we're on the verge. We're a few pieces away, and I think he's probably the biggest piece, and we want him to be a part of it, and we want him to lead us. I think he's probably the next Yankees team captain. If I had to guess, of course I'm not up there. I don't really know all the ins and outs of what goes into that, but I mean, he's it. He's the next big star. He is the current big star, and I feel like he needs to stay in pinstripes. So I don't know how good of a pitch that would be, but give me a chance to talk to him, and I'll say it. I'll do everything I can to keep him in New York.
Yeah, we all want him to stay, but we have to see. It's a business, the process. I mean, he's homegrown.
Really
the offer has to be right. Like, it's a lot of things going with that.
It really is a business. The whole thing, from minor league baseball on up, it's a business, and it's cutthroat and it's dirty, and it really sucks sometimes. But it's a business, and we're all in it, and he's got to do what he feels like is best for him. Hopefully he'll wherever he winds up. If it's not New York, hopefully it'll be a good fit for him. Like I said, I'm hoping it's New York, but man, we got to stop booing them at home.
That wasn't a go look. That wasn't. It's not.
That's
cool.
probably not helping in our case.
No, it's not going to help. No.
But
he heard it too.
Aaron, if you're listening, I've never booed you. Please stay.
Yeah, I've never booed you. Me and Nathan never booed you either, bro.
Absolutely.
I do have. Oh, Nathan, do you have one? I have one last one. I know we're probably done soon.
Yeah, you say it, and then we'll.
Okay, so I want to ask something. This might be a little difficult, but how do you feel about the minor leaguers unionizing? Are things getting better compared to when you first came up? Like, are things actually going in the right direction here?
Absolutely. I think things are going in a great direction. I think getting some union representation of the minor leagues is just the next step. I feel like, I'm a very simple guy. It doesn't take much to, keep me happy, so I've been very happy in the situation that we've been in, but I think getting union representation is only going to make it better. So I think, taking steps forward is, going in the right direction. I'm all for it. I voted yes for the, in the big player vote that we had. So I'm all for it. And, I'm looking forward to seeing, what'll develop from that. So it'll be interesting, but I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to seeing you on the mound pretty soon. Hopefully the next season after this, but man, Derek, thank you for joining us. This was truly an honor. We learned a lot on today's show. Your story is amazing. Keep up the great work. And where can our fans find you on social media so they can follow you?
I don't even know what my account handles are, to be honest with you. That's a really good, it's like Craft Derek DMC on Instagram, I believe. I can't even, I gotta pull it up myself because I don't even know.
On Twitter, they can follow you at
oh yeah, Twitter I think is pitch DMC, little playoff for the band there. And I think Instagram on Derek.craft_DMC. And, I always like to, hear from fans, reach out to fans, interact any way that I can. So any follow, any support is appreciated. And yeah, thank y'all for having me on the show. It's been a blast.
And Julian, you want to promote your stuff?
Yeah, of course. So Derek, thanks for coming on as well. We appreciate it. It was a really fun season covering you. And I wish you the best of luck in recovery too. I hope you're back out there sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that, man.
So my follows Out in the Field's a podcast. Out in the Field 1 is my social handle, as Nathan was saying. And then my personal Insta is Julian Glardy 11, and then Twitter's Julian Glardy 1. So that's where everyone can find me.
Yeah. So thank you, Derek, again, man. This was awesome. And we'll send you the audio, and then my team will edit the video, and then we'll send it to you later on. But keep up the great work, man. You're killing it.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, man.
No problem.
Good luck, Derek. And then Nathan.